Not gonna lie to you.
I've been on,
What's it called? Um,
sorry, TikTok. I was like, what the fuck? Drew a blank there. I've been on TikTok and I've been listening or watching videos about healing and shit like that, I guess, from this one spiritualist. And it's just like, what you want in your life, you have to be in alignment for. Just like you have to be in your purpose if you're a Christian. Or I don't know what the term is for any other religion, but I know Christianity because I grew up in that. I'm not a Christian anymore, but
I
back to the subject. I hear a lot of people, a lot of spiritualists talking about healing. You need to heal, and you need to be in alignment. While all that is good and dandy, right? And you get a reading from them, and they can tell you what you can do
to get in alignment.
right? They're not actually doing that for you, which they can't, right? They can only lead you to the water per se, and you have to drink it. Which comes back to this point. At the end of the day, as individuals, we know what we need to do to heal. And I think healing ultimately means coming back to who you are and just like, well, this is who I am right now. That may be true, but there's a very unaltered version of yourself, right? That you need to come back to at the end of the day. Just like it's a full circle of life, right? You start, you end, right? The beginning, the end, there's a start, there's a finish. Like you have to come back to yourself, right?
To come back to
Elevate into the version that you're supposed to be, essentially. But if I had to really point healing in the ways that I'm thinking about it for myself, and no one else can tell me otherwise, because you can go to hell and die, is the fact that coming back to home, coming back to yourself, right? For so long, we've been in this world where this is definitely a game where we've had to code switch, do X, Y, and Z to get to a certain place, right? And once we reach that place, we think, oh, we have to keep this up, or like we have to keep it up in a way to keep our positions. And that's there's really a lot of unlearning and just being confident and comfortable in who you are and unapologetically you. Like for me, like I have a hard exterior, like gangster, if you will, but I'm a really loving person. So coming back to that soft interior, like candy, like a strawberry candy, those like squishy candies. Understanding like I'm not to be played with because I'm a very dangerous person at the end of the day, but understanding that that's truly who I am at my core, right? Soft and gooey, and
cutesy. That's not for everybody.
some of y'all may be, this,
Per se. It's like,
cutesy side, and maybe it's total opposite. Like I'm a hard interior, like X, Y, and Z, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I think it's coming to terms and being honest with yourself about who you are. And I say that to say, I just came back from the mall. Like, I like to spend a lot of money, and that's something that I need to unlearn too. Like, why am I just spending money just to spend money? Because I have it. That's something I'm gonna need to learn not to do. But I was watching these niggas because I like guys. Not interested in dating right now or anything, but I was watching niggas, and a lot of the niggas I see in my area, which is Lithonia, Georgia, like they all look the same. Like they are like kind of thuggish, they have their pants like sagging, like they wear certain types of white t-shirts, certain types of shorts, and like have a lot of tattoos. And like while that's all fine and dandy, right, and individualistic, like who are you at the core at the end of the day, right? Um, who no for real, who are you? Is that just what you portray to the world, right?
pretending,
Certain time that's cool, but like who are you really? And I understand that you don't want to all you may not sorry want to always give the real you to the world because I totally believe that not everyone needs to see the real you.
right? They don't. Y'all don't deserve
Deserve
that.
that. And it's not a matter of, well, you deserve that. No, it's a matter of, y'all bitches don't deserve that. And I'm surrounded by you hoes. Right? So either I took that stance, and it's my opinion, and I'm protecting myself from you hoes, or I really just don't want to give that version of myself to you, right? And you get to pick and choose and discern when that's applicable.
Right? But really,
Ask yourself, is this necessary right now to do that? Right? Because sometimes it may be necessary to maybe veil or guard your heart, maybe because you've been through a lot and you just like don't have time for that. That ensues, asking those questions as to why. And again, is this necessary at this time for me to be doing that? Right? But there's also just a lesson in there to like really like,
I was asking myself,
are these niggas really like this when they're at home? Like again, I don't know any of these niggas at all, so like I can't really say that. But I was just really asking the question, like, are these really those people like that they portray, right? It must be really hard to keep up a facade, right, for so long, right? When you're around people or you're in a certain space, because sometimes it may just break, like the mask may come off, and you may have good intentions for having a mask on, just being like, yeah, I don't like these people around me, right? And you believe that, these people have bad intentions. Correct, right? But then that may be insinuating even further questions that you may need to ask yourself, like, do I need to be around these people if I have to do that? Like X, Y, and Z, is there another group of people, or do I just need to be by myself, right? I'm learning a lot of something I was scared of as a kid, to be by myself, where I understand that having friendships is important. Being by myself is not as bad. And I'm learning, I have to learn being by myself does not mean I need to go shopping all the time, right? Like being indoors can, be cool and fun without going, having to spend money. And that's something I personally decide to divulge to you guys, but something I'm working on, right? And that's also healing, right? That's also a part of your healing. I think healing is very individualistic. No matter what a spiritualist may say, whatever, you have to come to terms with, well, no matter what pastor says or whatever, you have to come to terms with your own life, what you want to do with your own life, what your purpose is in your own life. No one can tell you, like, word for word, detail for detail, what your purpose is in your life, right? And I noticed that too, getting tarot readings, growing up in the church, people telling me what my purpose is, not believing what that is, and having to find out for myself and still finding that out, right? But purpose and healing do go hand in hand, right? And healing, again, I will reiterate, is finding your true form or your truest self, right? Your most authentic self, right? Aside putting down the facade or whatever. And once you know that, you can become a force to reckon with, because you can know when that's appropriate and when that's not, right? And stand in your purpose. But I think purpose looks different for obviously different ways in different people, or in different ways for different people, right? But I noticed for me, in that purpose is not aligned with, being highly, notarized, right? I know for me, I'm community oriented, right? And like doing things for the community, right? And helping. And what that looks like may differ, so I need to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure that shit out, right? But it looks different for you. And taking away what society says is important. What society says is, again, it's like, oh, this needs to be, you need to want this, you need to incorporate this. And in actuality, you don't need any of that. You just need to do what your heart says, like for your purpose, and find a palpable mechanism in which you can do that in, right? And hopefully that makes money too. And I think I'm also, this is more so a message for me as well as like people listening. Uh, Also understanding that sometimes purpose is not always linked with money too. Like it can definitely, in this space, can definitely be linked with money, but like it's not always linked with money too, or notoriety. Yeah, so it's like one of those things I'm just starting to understand. Um, and trying to grapple with as a 25-year-old. So yeah.